Welcome to another edition of 10 Reasons Why Show Sports. I'm your host, Chad Tomaso, and I'm joined today by Chantal Chailler.
Thank you, nice to be here.
Welcome to the show. Now, you're from Canada.
I am, yes.
So I thought I would take advantage of that and ask you some questions about the United States sports scene.
All right.
Is that okay?
Let's give her.
All right, this is not really a test, but I think our viewers would be interested to see what the Canadian perspective is. So,
I would love to see it.
Without further ado, I'm going to ask you the very first question, probably the most obvious. NHL hockey is a big thing. Everybody knows that it's a Canadian sport.
Very popular.
Very
yes.
popular.
Yeah.
So, putting that aside,
okay,
what would be the next popular sport in Canada?
I'd probably say also our CFL league. We've got a Canadian Football League, which is also very popular, so anybody who follows that does watch the CFL. Other than that, some winter sports, maybe some figure skating, a little curling.
Now, does curling get a lot of airtime in Canada?
Curling gets actually quite a bit of airtime, you'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people play, there's a lot of competitions, and yeah, it's quite popular.
Very, very cool. Now, I've seen curling, but it's usually like in the Olympics, and I see it like once every 4 years, so. You had some involvement with the CFL, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with the CFL for a year.
So you have some explaining to do, being from Canada. What is going on with the fields?
What is going on with the fields? I guess it's trying to be an NFL field. Is probably the best way I can put that. The details, I have no idea.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I definitely am. Putting all Canadians to shame right here.
Now, I do know that, we've had some... there's been some success for the Canadian Football League here in the United States. Because
yep.
I've seen it, I've watched it. I know Doug Flutie is one of the main guys to come out of the CFL, and he made a name for himself in the NFL.
True.
Of course, I think, who's in Toronto? Do you know which team's in Toronto?
Toronto Argonauts.
Toronto Argonauts, that's right. And I think Doug Flutie played for them, if I'm
I
not
believe
mistaken.
you're right.
So, the guy is a legend. I know he's a legend here. I'm assuming he's a legend in Canada.
He's a legend in Canada as well. I mean, he's not only Flutie, there's been other players that have come to the Canadian Football League as well, but he's probably one of the most popular.
I like him. Who is the most influential person or thing to come out of Canada?
I gotta say Wayne Gretzky, obviously.
I figured you would say that.
I met him actually as well.
Really?
Pretty nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
I think he lives in Los Angeles still.
He does?
I think so. Did he move to Canada?
His mom was in Ontario actually when she was there. I think she's passed now.
All right. Well,
yeah,
Wayne Gretzky, everybody loves Wayne Gretzky.
Everybody loves Wayne Gretzky.
I can't argue with that. Now, how about Steve Nash versus Wayne Gretzky? Who would you pick?
Oh.
You knew he was Canadian.
I did know Steve Nash was Canadian, yes. I believe he's from BC as well, so I'd probably got to go with my West Coast and say Steve Nash.
All right, Steve Nash, and he's still playing.
He's still playing?
He's still playing with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Of course, I knew that.
Yeah, he's been hurt for a long time because he's an old man. He's almost 40.
Ooh, that's pushing it.
That's really, really old, I know. All right, so how about this? Michael J. Fox or William Shatner?
Ooh.
Both Canadians.
Ooh. Michael J. Fox,
Michael
considering
J.
I'm not much of a Star Trek.
I think you just alienated half.
I totally did.
So, all right, so now let's do this.
Okay.
Wayne Gretzky or Michael J. Fox?
Wayne Gretzky. I do. He had a really long-standing career. You got to give the man respect.
Canadian anthem.
Ooh, all right.
I've heard it several times. I think Americans have heard it a number of times. Whether whether it's at an NBA game playing against Toronto, or perhaps a football game. Well, not a football game. I guess they don't have Canadian football games, but soccer games. Well, against the United States.
Oh, okay,
I'm talking about an American audience that has heard
Olympics,
it.
you hear a lot.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
Do you know how to sing the Canadian anthem?
Absolutely. Unlike Americans, actually probably 85% of Canadians know their national anthem.
I know the American anthem.
You do?
Oh, say, can you see? And the rockets, red flag.
Okay.
Of course I do.
You may be one of the few then.
Of course I do.
Okay.
All right, so do you want to give us maybe like the first line? I think it goes, "Oh, Canada,
our home and native land."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I won't make you sing the whole thing. But
I used to know it in French too,
Really?
Yeah.
I would never ask you to sing it
Thank
in
God.
French. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite NFL team?
I do have a favorite NFL team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, why the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I've been following them since Ben Roethlisberger first joined, and I'm clearly a Ben fan.
So let's talk about the Super Bowl for a minute because that's obviously a hot topic.
Obviously.
Did you ever watch the Super Bowl when you were in Canada?
Lots.
Okay,
yeah, we
so
have huge Super Bowl putters in Canada.
Okay, so Canadians watch the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a big thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, well that's interesting to know. So now the Broncos obviously playing the Seahawks. Sounds like you're a Broncos fan.
I am a Broncos fan, yeah.
Okay, so you expect them to win?
I do.
Or you just want them to win?
No, I expect them to win as well.
All right, what's your prediction as far as the score?
Ooh. Let's say 27-20.
27-20.
Sure. Let's go with
That
that.
sounds good.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too
Not
far
too far off? Okay.
So now, commercials.
Yes.
Do you like the commercials?
I love the commercials. Our Canadian commercials are obviously different when they air.
Makes sense?
Yeah, so it's not as entertaining as some of the American ones I've seen.
Okay, so that's actually a good insight. So you guys don't get like this big giant influx of high-priced commercial productions that are put into the Super Bowl, or do they go out of their way to make
Same
brand
but
new
different. Yeah, we've got a little bit more Canadian, less funding obviously for some of them, and they do throw in some American commercials, but they also like to play some Canadian.
All right.
as well.
What about we talked about NFL?
Okay.
Do you have a favorite college team by chance? Do you even follow college football?
You know what? I don't follow college football. That's
Okay.
one thing. Between CFL and NFL, I just don't have time for college.
So do they have college Canadian football?
They don't. They have the CJFL, which is the Canadian Junior Football League. They don't do Canadian college football.
So if you're in college, you're not getting a scholarship for football.
No.
So you'd probably.
I mean, they might be out there, but it's not something that's as known as in America.
Right, like college football is really huge here.
Really huge here, yeah.
Okay.
And
so-
a lot of them are drafted to the NFL from there. In Canada, you're drafted from the CJFL, not
Gotcha.
from college leagues.
Okay. So we already talked about the Super Bowl. We already know who's going to win. You heard it here from the Canadian who says Denver Broncos.
Oh, Broncos.
I have to agree with her on this. All right, well that's it. That's our show.
Awesome.
That was painless, wasn't it?
That was totally painless.
Well, if you want to see our other shows, make sure you come to our website at 10reasonswhyshow.com, and we would love to hear your comments. Again, this is Chad Tomaso for Chantal Chailler. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.